Good morning. I have just made it to work, trying to get here early. Sometimes I make it sooner than I'd like to, or I don't make it as soon as I'd like to. But welcome to Aging with Community and Grace. I was thinking today about what was on my agenda. One of the things I have planned for today is a care conference. Care conferences are done for residents every so often. It could be quarterly, it could be every 6 months, it could be annually. You want to make sure that you are touching base with the power of attorney or whoever the family member, or sometimes it's a guardian, that is responsible over your residents' care. The one who legally can make decisions for them. This is where I feel like you really solidify your partnership in care relationship, because especially if you have a family that's really involved, you want to be able to have their confidence. I mean, you really want everyone to be confident that you're going to do what you say you're going to do as far as taking care of their loved one. But the families that you see often that come in almost daily or several times a week or even once a week, you want to make sure that you are getting their input for what they'd like to see done with their family member. If the resident is telling their family member, I'd like to have my showers in the morning or in the evening, you want to make sure you're meeting those expectations. If the family member needs to come and clear out their closet because now it's a change of season and we need you to take the winter clothes from their closet and bring in the summer clothes so that they don't go outside and burn up half to death. You want to keep them updated about supplies that are needed. So in an assisted living setting, we do not provide like their towels, their linen, their furniture, their toiletries. The family has to bring those things in. And nowadays, with things like Amazon, they don't have to worry about physically going to get those things. They can have them just delivered straight here. So that is convenient. One way that we try to keep up with the residents' needs as far as like toiletries and things like that is with my community, we've established Sunday as the day to fill out resident need forms. So if they need more incontinence supplies, if they need wipes, if they need body wash, those things are all written out on a sheet on Sunday. And then when we come in on Monday, we look to try to make sure we get that information out to the families. So care conferences are very important. It's not about, complaining about anything necessarily that the resident is doing, unless there's something concerning, like a change in condition. If we think that someone maybe needs to have hospice services in place, that is where that conversation can happen. Because sometimes you have to look for the right moment to have those conversations. Sometimes I might reach out to a hospice provider to say, hey, I'm getting ready to talk to this person about hospice. And if you can kind of be around at that time, then I think it would be good for them to be able to ask you questions if they have immediate questions. I never try to influence a resident's or family decision on which company to choose. I try to offer them maybe my top 3 or top 5 that I feel are the most responsive. No matter if it's day or night, if I say, hey, we're having this issue with this person, or we need pain medication, I need the person that's going to answer my phone calls when I call, or respond back, whether it's via text or email, send me the orders that I need, make sure that they're coming in to assess a resident in case like they had a fall or something. So I just try to coach the families and going, look at each one and see which one will provide all of the services or the majority of the services that you're looking for. And the main thing is, responding. Because even a resident that's on hospice is not just there for the resident, they're also there to support the family. And so we can have those discussions during a care conference. Care conferences for me are different than the care conferences that are in a skilled community, because in a skilled community, you've got the dietitian weighing in, you've got therapy there weighing in, you've got the social worker, you have a team of people. In assisted living, you'll have me, the nurse, maybe the ED, maybe the resident care coordinator or the memory care coordinator or director. You may have them there. And you're kind of weighing in on all the different aspects of the day. So you're letting the family know, are they participating in activities? Are they getting out of their room, or are they staying held up in their room? What can we do to get them out of their room? Are they not eating well? Are there certain foods that maybe we should try to offer that maybe the family knows is their favorite, that could spark some ability for them to eat more? Are they new to the community and maybe not adjusting well? Do we need to sign them up to maybe see the psych nurse and maybe have the nurse practitioner or the psych nurse review their medications and do a medication review? Is their pain controlled if they have pain? Is it not controlled? Do we need to reach out to someone to reevaluate what they're doing? Have they been in the community for a long time and they're starting to slow down some? And maybe we think that they could use a little boost by getting on therapy. So we may request an order for PT and OT. If we have questions about either their swallowing ability or their cognition, we may request speech therapy as well. If we have a resident that maybe seems to require a lot of time for their ADLs, for getting dressed in the morning, for getting up, I don't immediately jump to, they need more care, so they need to go to skilled care, we need to discharge them. What I will first do is have the nurse practitioner see them, see if we need to run any labs, if in case anything's wrong, if we need to obtain a urine sample to check for a UTI, because that can be pretty debilitating for the elderly. Or we might say, maybe they just need a boost with PT and OT, to establish where they are. Maybe they have a new baseline. Maybe they're not able to do all the things they used to, but maybe we can help them at this new baseline to be successful in doing as much as they can for themselves. The goal is always for them to still remain as independent as possible, while we're here to always step in and assist. So care conferences are there to update the family members on what's going on, and they can be in person, via Zoom, or just over the phone. Not everybody lives in the same location as their family. So we'll review where they are, how they're doing, if the family has any questions. A lot of times, families may know exactly what kind of medications their loved one was taking when they first moved in, but through different doctor's visits and changing in orders, they may lose track of that. So if they are the power of attorney over their health care, we try to make sure that those family members have an updated copy of their med list, so they're able to answer in case the resident goes out to the hospital. They're familiar with what is going on with their care medically. So there's the care conference today. Then, and I have quite a few actually that I'm going to schedule for next week, because we're just in that window of I'm updating everyone's service plan. And so I try to give the family members an opportunity to have the care plan meeting during those times, so they can see if there's any changes, if they agree or disagree. Service plans, I'll talk about that maybe later on today. The other thing is we have some new hires, so some new people have joined our team. One of the things that happens when there's a new hire, they are not for the clinical team, so they're not in my department, but any new hire that comes into the community, I still have some portion of the onboarding process, because for one, any new person that enters our community, whether you're a worker or a resident, I have to make sure that they get a TB shot. So that's the little bubble we put right up under the, between the layers of your skin, right in this area. You get it on one day, and then 2 days later we read it to see if there's any reaction. Normally the bubble just resolves and absorbs into your skin, but if the bubble enlarges or is reddened, then that would make us think that there is some type of reaction or possible positive TB, tuberculosis diagnosis. Now, tuberculosis is a lung infection. Sorry, looking at a worker from night shift, and I don't know why she's still here, but I will definitely go ask. So tuberculosis is a lung infection that can be spread through the air, through coughing or sneezing, and it's highly contagious, and you can get it from being around other communal areas. So if they're coming from the hospital, there's a potential that they could be exposed to TB from there. Even if they're coming from home, we have to still make sure that every resident entering the community has had their TB injections, or at least the first one, and then any staff coming in, unless, you have some other kind of medical whatever. Some people that were born outside of the country, a lot of times will opt for a chest x-ray to rule out TB, because many times whatever type of medications, injections, vaccinations that they got in another country can sometimes cause a false positive TB reading. So that's why they will opt for a chest x-ray for them. So I've got that on the agenda. And then throughout the week, when providers see the residents, their progress notes come across through our email or fax or whatever. So I spend a lot of time making sure that I am reading through those, addressing them. There's quite a lot of documentation that goes into them, family follow-up, and making sure any new orders go to the pharmacy. Not every resident uses the same pharmacy. For many veterans, the VA will provide the majority of their medications for low cost or free. We do accept those medications. Most medications we require to be in bubble packs that we receive from the pharmacy. The VA may produce these medications, but in a pill bottle form. So we will accept those. Sometimes it's just cheaper for residents to get their meds through a different pharmacy other than the one that the community mainly uses. They can still utilize those pharmacies. We just try to get the other pharmacy to make sure that they package the residents' medications the way we normally use. We don't use any of those bag pharmacy. There are some pharmacies that will put all the medications, like for the morning, in one pouch, and then all the medications for the afternoon, all the medications for the evening. In theory, that can be great, especially for maybe at home. But in a community, it's not great, because if any one of those medications changes, the pharmacy is not going to send out a whole nother bag with the one new pill that changed. They will keep sending out the same package of medications and maybe add an extra pill package for what changed. And then you have to hope that the staff is like digging out the other pill. It's just too much. So individual bubble cards with each individual medication, so that we have better control over when these medications change and taking them in and out of the carts. So that's going to be my day for today, along with updating lots of other resident assessments. And I will talk later about how residents are assessed to even come into the community, because I'm sure that is probably one of the biggest questions that I get when I have family members for the first time inquiring about getting their loved one into assisted living. They want to know what the process is. And I've gone to many homes and hospitals and rehabs to do those assessments to see if a resident is, for one, qualified, if they're qualified to come to assisted living, and then based on their cognition, is it assisted living that they're okay for, or is it memory care where we have a secured unit where they're not able to just walk out the door and go outside to where the street is. They do have an outdoors area, but it's mainly fenced in so that they can't get to the streets or where cars are driving. We want to make sure and to maintain their safety. So have a good day. Thank you so much for supporting Aging with Community and Grace. We're going to keep the conversations going. I hope to collaborate with a lot of my current and previous coworkers and partners in care. There is so much information that I believe we all can share so that we can better prepare everyone and make changes as needed. Try to push for improvements in the ability to care and the things that assisted livings or long-term care offers for families. So I look forward to talking to you all later. Have a good day. Bye.